Hello, Tigers, and welcome to the TMNtv Newscast for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Stay tuned for the latest news at Fort Hays State University and around Northwest Kansas and the nation. I am Lauren Davis, and Jenna Hawley will be here shortly with a look at what's going on around the globe. And Haley White will fill you in on what's happening in the sports world. But first, here's what's making news in Tigerland. The search for a suspect in the sexual assault of a 19-year-old early Sunday near campus has crossed state lines. Trey M. Carrasco is 23, was spotted at a Colby gas station and was believed to be traveling toward Colorado later Sunday. He is believed to be in the Denver area now. The incident happened at approximately 5:40 a.m. Sunday in the 400 block of West 7th. Carrasco is described as a 5-foot 8-inch tall black man, weighing 173 pounds, with brown eyes and black curly hair and a short afro. Carrasco had just been released from prison on Friday after serving nearly 5 years for aggravated battery and aggravated sexual battery in 2011 case after he attacked a Hays woman who was jogging. He was eventually sentenced in 2013 to 100 months in prison, but was eligible at that time for release after 60 months for good behavior. Anyone with information about the whereabouts of Carrasco are urged to call the Hays PD at 785-625-1011. He is to be considered armed and dangerous. Fort Hays State University launched its new website earlier this week. The new look is a stark contrast to what the former site looked like. The new website is designed with the purpose to tell FHSU's brand history of determination, innovation, and caring support. The new look has been in development for more than a year. Kelsey Stremmel, Assistant Director of University Relations and Marketing, who spearheaded the project, said the redesign helps tell the story of FHSU's dedication, innovation, and community support through vibrant images and writing focused on the university's brand personality. The new look also is intended to ease navigation of the site. Visit www.fhsu.edu for a look. Hunters discovered a dead female mountain lion recently in Rooks County while hunting for birds. The group immediately contacted a local game warden about the big cat. Officials were still investigating the cause of the animal's death. Mountain lion sightings occurred in Kansas in the past, but many of them are later believed to be either bobcats or large cats. Some trail cameras have captured pictures of mountain lions in northwest Kansas. Many more sightings go unconfirmed because of a lack of evidence. Mountain lions can prey on deer and have been known to roam several hundred miles. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation announced earlier this week it was begun an investigation into reports of sexual abuse by clergy in multiple Kansas's Catholic dioceses. The Catholic Church has 4 dioceses in Kansas based in Salina, Kansas City, Dodge City, and Wichita. Last month, the Archdiocese of Kansas City released 22 names of clergy members, church employees, or church volunteers who were involved in past abuse. The KBI has formed a special task force to look into any allegations. Any alleged incidents could lead to possible prosecution. A Kansas state senator is suing a Kansas City newspaper for defamation after allegedly attributing quotes to him. Senate Majority Leader Jim Denning is seeking in excess of $75,000 in damages for a column written by Kansas City Star columnist Steve Rose. Denning said the paper attributed quotes about Medicaid expansion were not from him, and that he hasn't spoken to Rose since 2016. Rose's column claimed Denning was using lame excuses for opposing Medicaid expansion. An attorney for Denning said the newspaper credited his client with numerous statements he did not make. Rose offered to resign from the newspaper if Denning dropped the lawsuit. The senator is seeking a jury trial in the case. A Manhattan man is a lot richer after one lottery ticket paid off in a big way. Justin Brown scratched his way to a $25,000 payout recently after being tempted to buy a ticket with an ad on his cell phone. The winning payout came from a $5 Super Jumbo Bucks instant scratch ticket. Brown said he bought the ticket because of its colors. He plans to fix up his pickup and take some time relaxing with his winnings. When we return from this short break, Jenna will be here with news from around the globe.
I think there's a perception out there that web and mobile application development is this field where you sit behind a computer all day and code. And that's not it at all, right? And there's even a perception out there that geek is bad. But I think students should embrace their inner geek. We don't code all day. We look at issues, we look at problems, and try to figure out the pieces of the puzzle and how to put them together to build things.
I was able to learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, PHP, just kind of the whole 9 yards with that. So I really enjoyed the full program that they offered here.
Anything that you're interested in, the field of web and mobile application development, there's a value to. There's nothing like what we have in the informatics department. If you choose to take everything in the buffet that we offer, you'll be very well prepared for any type of job opportunity that's out there.
Hello Tigers, I'm Jenna Hawley, and here's what is going wrong around the globe. Tuesday night saw President Donald Trump deliver his second State of the Union address speech weeks after the longest government shutdown. The speech was Trump's first address to a joint session with one house controlled by Democrats. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi released a statement responding to Trump's address, saying she will fact-check all the misrepresentations made last night. Pelosi said, instead of fear-mongering and manufacturing a crisis at the border, President Trump should commit to signing the Bipartisan Conference Committee's bill to keep the government open and provide strong, smart border security solutions. According to CBS News, there was a 76% approval of Trump's speech. The president touched on several subjects that included Middle East policies, an announcement on a summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and outlined priorities for Congress. Trump's remarks came as Congress continues to work for a deal on border security to prevent another government shutdown before the mid-month deadline. President Donald Trump insisted he feels free to ignore assessments given by his intelligence chiefs. In an interview with CBS on Sunday, Trump said he would act on his own beliefs. The president appeared to soften his claim that the senior intelligence officials who testified before Congress told him their views had been distorted in news reports. According to the LA Times, the White House suggested that Tuesday's State of the Union speech will be bipartisan. Trump took a more combative tone during the interview. Trump's criticisms came amid increasing unease within Republican ranks over White House foreign policy decisions. Democrats and some senior Republicans have opined that disregarding nonpartisan intelligence assessments is a perilous path for any president. Republicans are moving forward with Brett Kavanaugh's replacement on a lower court months after he was confirmed to the Supreme Court. The nominee, Naomi Rao, was tapped to fill Kavanaugh's former seat on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. She currently runs the Federal Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs. Rao has never been a judge, but as an attorney, she clerked for Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, worked in the White House counsel's office under President George W. Bush, and was a professor at George Mason University of Law. According to Huffington Post, Rao has come under fire for controversial articles she wrote from 1992 to 1996. The nominee has written about topics ranging from sexual assault to climate change. NAACP President and CEO Derek Johnson said Rao was the last person who should be on the court. Johnson said, the Rao nomination is an insult to the communities of color, women, persons with disabilities, and the LGBTQ community. In truth, the nomination is an insult to all Americans. Family and friends of inmates at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn held a protest against the conditions the inmates face. Many inmates have been without power and heat in the New York prison and have not had contact with the outside world for days due to a partial power failure. Officials say the failed power is a result of a fire that destroyed an electrical panel. According to BBC, the Federal Bureau of Prisons said officials were working to restore power as quickly as possible. They added that inmates still had hot water and the building had emergency lighting. In a tweet late Saturday, the New York City mayor condemned the federal authorities and said the city was providing blankets to the prisoners. The president of Iraq said President Donald Trump did not ask permission to leave U.S. troops in Iraq. According to the Reuters, the Iraqi president said the troops are in the country to monitor Iran and combat terrorism. The Iraqi president said that it is in his country's fundamental interest to have a good relationship with Iran. According to The Hill, the Iraqi president told the U.S. not to pursue your own political priorities in the country. The comments came after Trump said in an interview on Sunday that he planned to keep U.S. troops in Iraq to watch Iran. Authorities have warned residents of Townsville, Australia to be aware of crocodiles and snakes that have been spotted in floodwaters in residential areas. The gates of the Ross River Dam were opened on Sunday to lower water levels. Townsville has received more than a meter of rain in the last week. According to BBC News, emergency workers in the Army said they had received more than 1,000 calls for help. Queensland's environmental minister said crocodiles may be crossing roads, and when flooding recedes, crocodiles can turn up in unusual places such as farm dams or water holes. Local police are warning residents to be aware of other potential dangers in the floodwaters, such as leaking sewage. That's what is happening in the news world this week. Stay tuned for a sports update with Haley White when we return.
The Tiger Media Network is Fort Hays State University's independent student media organization. It's a student employment opportunity where you can work for either the news side or the sports side. So you can be on live sports production, which produces all of the live sports broadcasts that we do, or you could be on the news side and do news stories covering things on campus, so presidential announcements, student government association. We bring that news to the student community and the Hays community as well.
You don't realize how much Fort Hays State has to offer until you're here.
I mean, it is definitely, this is a land of opportunity here.
I just got back from the MIAA tournament in Kansas City a couple weeks ago where we worked with other production crews including Pitt State and Central Missouri. And it's a great time. I've gone there the last couple of years.
For me anyway, I get to do sports, which is what I love. And if live productions is where that's at, this is the perfect place to do it. We have almost everything that you could possibly imagine.
Tiger Media Network allows you the opportunity to take the skills you've learned and put them forward in a real world, real application setting that allows you to flourish and grow as a professional, and that will only help you and benefit you when you graduate and go into the real world workforce.
Hello Tigers, I'm Haley White bringing you a sports update. Today is National Signing Day as the Fort Hays football coaching staff announces signings for the 2019 season. Visit FHSU Athletics page for the latest information on the signings. FHSU football's Twitter page will also update followers on the latest student athletes who have been welcomed into the Tiger family. And stay tuned after this newscast to see footage of the press conference held in the Tiger Room. Fort Hays men's basketball suffered a 3-point loss on the road Saturday, falling to Nebraska Kearney 59-56. The Tigers struggled from the field, shooting only 37.3%. However, Fort Hays defense was able to hold the Lopers to a 36.4 shooting percentage. Junior guard Aaron Nicholson led the Tigers with 15 points to end the contest. The men moved to 7-4 in MIAA with another conference matchup on the road Thursday against Pittsburgh State. A 20-point rally in the fourth quarter allowed the Fort Hays women to escape with a 74-64 win on the road against the Lopers. The team completed its largest comeback during the overtime win in nearly 2 decades. Tatiana Leggett paced the Tigers with 25 points, matching her career high that was previously set last season. Fort Hays defense was a large component to the comeback as the Tigers forced 25 Kearney turnovers. The women improved to 10-1 in conference play with a big matchup against the 17-4 Gorillas on Thursday. KU basketball head coach Bill Self blames the lack of leadership as why the Jayhawks fell to Kansas State inside Bramlage during the Sunflower Showdown on Tuesday. The highly defensive Wildcats forced 23 KU turnovers in the 74-67 win. According to the Kansas City Star, Coach Self does not blame the loss on the team's inability to take care of the ball, but on its lack of leadership, inexperience, and toughness is the ultimate reason why KU fell to K-State inside Bramlage Coliseum for only the 5th time in program history. Part 2 of the Sunflower Showdown will take place on February 25th in a Monday night matchup inside Allen Fieldhouse at 8 p.m. The FHSU baseball team opened the 2019 season with a chilly 8-0 loss against Northwest Oklahoma State on Tuesday, where the Ranger pitching staff limited the Tigers to 6 hits, all of which were singles. Northwest Oklahoma State rattled off a dozen hits in the win. The Tigers will open a 4-game series with New Mexico Highlands Friday at Larks Park. Due to his efforts at the Husker Invitational, FHSU track and field's Brett Meyer claims his 3rd consecutive MIAA Athlete of the Week honor. Meyer improved his personal record in the mile to nearly 4 minutes and 4 seconds as he sits at number 3 in Division II in the miles performance list. The FHSU wrestling team finished on top of Central Missouri last Wednesday, beating the Mules 35-5. TMN's Lexi Gross has coverage of the event.
On Wednesday, January 30th, the Fort Hays State wrestling team hosted the Central Missouri Mules for their final home duel at Gross Memorial Coliseum. Wednesday was also senior night for the wrestlers. The Tigers celebrated the 4 seniors, their families, and their commitment to the program. The seniors included DeJuan Kearney, Ryan Coakley, Nick Meck, and Mikkel Robinson. The Tigers began the duel in a 6-0 deficit as the first 2 matches were dropped by decision. But after taking 2 losses, undefeated junior Brandon Ball came on top with a win for the Tigers to start their comeback. The Tigers then gained a bigger lead due to a gap in Central Missouri's roster. Number 4 rank FHSU won in the 2nd period with a technical fall. Redshirt freshman Conrad Vajnar stepped on the mat and won by a pin in the 1st period. The Tigers would now lead 22-6. Following were wins by nationally ranked number 9 Marty Verghey, senior Mikkel Robinson, redshirt freshman Ryan Tyers, and sophomore A.J. Cooper. The Tigers win the duel 35-6 and sent the seniors out on a high note. The Tigers will travel up north to take on number 2 ranked Nebraska Kearney on Sunday, February 10th at 3 p.m. This is Lexi Gross reporting for Tiger Media Network.
Fort Hays finished the Golden Norseman Open on Saturday with 9 placers. Tigers who earned runner-up finishes include Cole Zebley, Ryan Coakley, Isaiah Llewellyn, and Mikkel Robinson. Braden Wisniewski, Devin Onwubufer, and Tyler Boone collected 3rd-place finishes, while Nathan Dodson and Ryan Tiers finished 4th. The Tigers will make their way up to Kearney, Nebraska to face the number 2 Lopers on Sunday at 3 p.m. That concludes this episode. Tune in next week for another episode of TMNtv. To stay up to date on the latest news and information throughout the week, visit tigermedianet.com. Until then, roar Tigers!
Go ahead and open up for a general statement here from the coach about the signing class, and then he'll answer questions from you guys after that.
Just really excited about this 2019 recruiting class. A group of young men that are not only great on the football field, but also in the classroom as well. They did great academically. They're hardworking. A lot of kids come from winning programs. A lot of them have been in state playoffs or won state championships as well. But just a good group of kids that I'm very, very excited about. We've got some size, we've got some length, and we've got some athleticism, across the board as well. But this group of young men it's one of the better classes we've signed. Looking at paper, but you never know until they get here. But I think this group is going to come in and work hard and going to be committed. They wanted to be Tigers, which is important. You want kids that want to be at Fort Hays State University, not just for scholarship or whatever it might be. These guys truly want to be here and be part of this, and hopefully continue this tradition of winning conference championships and hopefully win a national championship. So I'm excited about them. They're good kids, and they're going to be fun to coach.
Looking at the list, I mean, size appears on both sides of the ball to have been a priority.
Yeah, it was. Just keep looking at our playoff games. In our conferences, we've got some pretty big guys, but going against UND and the year before going against Ferris, just the size and the length that they had, across the board, I thought we lacked a little bit, and I thought our athleticism was there. It was just the size that was kind of hurting us a little bit, but that's something we were going for. Looking at our D line and our O line and just some of the skill positions with 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", across the board there. I mean, those kids have length. Those kids have some size, and will put on some weight and put on some strength and be big kids, and they're athletic kids. They're just not big. These kids can move as well, and that's what we're really excited about.
One of the things that stands out, 18 Kansas kids. How important of a priority is it to get the Kansas kids?
I think it's always important, especially out here in Western Kansas. I think any kid that's Salina and West, we need to try to get those kids. We still lost on a few of them, either getting Division I AA offers or walking on to other schools. But to me, it's huge in this area because I know exactly what I want to get out of them as well. They're going to be hardworking, they're going to be committed, they're going to do well in the classroom, and look at this group too. Every one of these kids comes from a great family too, and their families are hardworking as well. And but the Kansas kids is what we got to get. They know what it's like in Hays, Kansas. It's a tough place to be, and if you're not used to the landscape and the way things kind of happen here, and in a small, quiet town that not a lot happens in, they get kind of lost. So, but these Western Kansas kids know exactly what it's like.
Coach, I know on some of these guys, specifically Hayden and certainly Holloway too, they had been offered by other schools earlier. You guys kind of came in late and got them. What was kind of your process?
I kind of do things different. A lot of colleges offer these kids, sight unseen, or they haven't seen the kid in person. They're just kind of going off of film, and I don't really offer a kid until he gets here on campus. I want to make sure that the kid's serious about us just as we are serious about him. If I just offer kids to offer kids, and then I don't think there's a real commitment on either end. So I want to get a kid here on campus before I offer him, and that's just kind of how I do things. I want to make sure that they want to be here and they want to be part of it. I want them to see what we're about, and I don't want to offer a kid, just like everyone else does, and he gets here and hates it, and now just wasted it off on somebody. So I make sure I get them here first. I want to meet them in person. I want to see their personality. I want to see their character. I try to find out as much as I possibly can about the young man. I want to meet his parents and who they are too. So I get I'm looking at the product of what we're going to get. And I want great character kids that do well academically and that want to win. And you don't know that until you truly get them here on campus.
Obviously, KU and K-State went through changes with the coaches. How much impact did that play here with you and players and such?
We didn't really lose too many, this year to walk-ons to KU or K-State. With that early signing day, that really helps us out quite a bit. There were a few preferred walk-ons, but I don't know if we had a few of our kids that had that opportunity to go to take those offers, and they didn't. We were able to get them this year. I think. Us winning back-to-back championships and getting out there and building these relationships with these young men have really helped us out and trying to change that a little bit. Not taking a preferred walk-on and actually taking a school where you got offered. So, I'm glad we got them. There's like Wolfong was one of those kids that had opportunities to move on. I'm sure Holloway had other opportunities as well. There's many on this list that had an opportunity to do walk-on offers too. So, but we got them, and these kids are going to play a lot of football for us. And I think that's what was important to them. They're going to get to play a lot of football.
You bring in a couple JUCO transfers on the O-line, someplace where you kind of depleted last year because of injuries and stuff. Do you see those guys jumping in and being able to hopefully compete right away?
I hope so. They're both good size. Ted Hesting, 6'6", 340. We probably need to have him lose a little bit of weight, right now and kind of trim him up a little bit. But he's an athletic kid. He moves very, very well. Kendrick Davis is another kid. He's 6'3", 335. Another one that probably needs to lose, 10 or 15 pounds just to get a little bit more mobility. But that just comes with time and getting in our weight room and going through our strength and conditioning and doing the morning runs and things like that. But I think they're two kids that can make an impact right away. If not, at least give us some depth on the O-line. We'll still have Pat Kelly coming back, who's who's getting healthy, and Nathan Hell will be back. So we got some guys coming back, and we got a lot of freshmen too from last year that, Nick Gossage and Hunter Hayes and those guys that could fill in. We still got Gober, who played a lot of games for us last year. So I think our depth is finally getting where we want it on the O-line. Still not quite there yet. We probably still want about 3 or 4 more guys to keep that depth higher. But, I think those guys can come in and help right away, at least push to start. And that's the thing. You got to have guys competing for starting positions. And when you get that, your team gets better.
Was there a position group in particular that you really tried to target with this class?
O-line, D-line was big for us, and we only had 10 seniors last year, so the scholarship dollars, we didn't have a lot of scholarship dollars to go around, and I think that was our big need, was O-line, D-line, a couple safeties. We needed a quarterback since we lost Jacob too, so we signed a couple as well, but it's still all about competing. Those kids still need to come in here and compete and try to start, but I think those are the most important, because when you look across the board year in and year out, your O-line, D-line seem to be the guys that get injured more than anybody else. So you got to have that depth and have another guy fill in. So I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm excited about it, and I think it's a good group that's going to work hard and really make us better in the long run.
You mentioned the 1AAs and some of the kids going there. How many of those kids from Kansas are you and maybe some of the other D2 schools in on that lose to South Dakota State, Western Illinois, places like that?
There's quite a few, you look around, the Shippers kid, went to Western Illinois, we were in on him, and Pori was in on him, Washburn. He had a lot of schools as well, and ended up going to Western Illinois. The kid from Pratt was another one that, we tried to get up, but then South Dakota State takes him, So, there's kids in the area that they come in and get. And what really makes you nervous is, Tuesday night, Wednesday, today, is if they don't get their guy, are they going to come in and get one of these young men that I have on my list right now? So, now that they're here on my list, I feel good. But last night and this morning, until you see that paper, it makes you pretty nervous. But they do come down here, and it's hard for those kids to pass up those opportunities. And I just tell them, I understand it. If you get there and it's something that is not what you expected it to be, or you don't feel at home, it's not comfortable, and you want to come back closer to home, give me a call. Because we'll take you back, and you'll get a lot of kids coming back, to us, because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be.
Does your recruiting pitch to those kids in particular change? Because kids who go to the Power 5 schools, you're not going to get through to those, but those other kids, does the recruiting pitch change to those?
Yeah, it does. It's more about distance. The Darville kid from Dodge City went to SEMO, and we're closer. For Shippers, we're closer as well. But you wanted to be successful. They're 18-year-old kids that got to make a decision on where they're going to go, and you can't be upset with their decision. They have to make the decision and be happy with where they're going. And if you end on bad terms, you're never going to have a chance at that kid again if he decides to leave. So, I wish the best for those young men, and I hope things work out. But if not, we want them to come back, and be Tigers. And, that's helped us out quite a bit, with some of these kids, especially, on our team. We get some guys that will come back from a walk-on at KU or from a Division I AA school that, it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and they gave us a call. But you never want to end on bad terms. They're good kids, and they got to make decisions, and they got to be happy with where they're going. And sometimes you don't figure it out until you get there.
I think we guys do this every year, but has this recent success and the winning the back-to-back championships, that opened the doors for some kids that maybe 5 years ago Fort Hays State didn't have a chance to get into?
Yeah, I think so. I think it really has. Just the way that things have happened really over the last 4 years, but it still goes back to those guys that when I first got here, really buying into what we were doing and understanding the culture and the way we were changing things and believing in it. And now these kids that we're recruiting now have seen the change and see that we are winning championships and, wanting to be part of it. And, again, we were a little picky this year with what we were bringing in. And, I was pretty nervous at the beginning of the recruiting season because, we weren't getting a lot of kids in here. But everybody was wanting those kids as well. And it was just, staying to the grind and staying on top of these kids and letting them know that this was the best fit for them. And, it helped us. And, we still got 30-something kids on this list. And, we're probably going to still go after a couple more, as well. But, it's a good group, and it's a group of kids that want to be here. And that's the most important thing is they want to be Tigers and they want to be part of this program.
Coach, you talked about being kind of nervous, and I think it was 2 Saturdays ago you guys kind of brought in a large group. Was that kind of when maybe things tipped and you got some guys, or was it a certain time when you felt like, hey, now we got some guys?
It's, just over the time, when I saw you at church there, we talked about it a little bit. You just don't know, what's going to happen with these young men, because you never know what they're thinking. One thing can sway their mind one way or the other, but it's even when they do commit, you still get nervous because there's still guys going to come in and try to get them from you. So you never know until today, and you're always uncomfortable and uneasy until today as well. But I really did. It's probably last week, about middle of last week, we started getting some commits and more commitments, and I think it's one kid commits, another kid sees that because they've been on visits together and they've talked quite a bit. That helps out as well, that they kind of recruit each other, and try to get each other to go to the same school. So there are best recruiters as well. When a kid commits and he goes recruits others, that's huge for you, because they get those kids here that want to be here as well and want to compete with them. So we use those guys to our advantage. We don't tell them to do it; they just kind of do it on their own, which is cool to see.
How does one go about getting a player from Ferny Creek, Australia?
Coach Dudley, special teams, watches a lot of films, and those guys have all these, those kicking schools and all that stuff where they have all this film, and Dudley watches a lot of it and saw Benjamin Donald on film and liked him, and he liked us, and he's got a strong leg, and he's a great kid, smart kid. It's funny because he actually graduated in December, where here in the States we was graduating in May, where he actually graduated in December at his high school in Australia. So it's a little bit different than here. So he's already here on campus, ready to go, and is already kicking for us.
Getting on top in the MIAA isn't easy. Staying there is probably even harder. When you look at some of the freshmen coming in now, do you look 3, 2, 4 years down the road of what they're going to be doing to keep you up there?
Yeah, you do, and a lot of that's talking on your visit as well. Of when they're on their visit, we tell them our expectations and what we expect of them when they come here, and the type of guys that we're looking for. Right? And that's what we I don't make it easy on our recruiting trips. I tell them exactly the kind of kids we want. Number first thing is the character. That's top on our priority. The type of kid that we are getting is to do things the right way. As you stay out of trouble, we want great character kids that are smart and do things right. Then we look at the student athlete part of it. You got to be a great student, because a lot of times you get those kids that are barely making it. They get to college and they don't make it at all, and you lose them. And then we see if they help us, continue to win conference championships and hopefully win a national championship. And those are the kids we brought in. I think these kids can help us, get to that, help us continue winning conference championships. And I think they're going to help us, hopefully win a national championship. And those are the things we talk about. Are you that guy or are you not that guy? If you're not that guy, we don't want you. We don't really beat around the bush. If you are that guy, let's get on board. Let's be Tigers and let's go win some more games. And it's just kind of how we are right now. I want kids that want to be here and want to compete, and I want good kids that I want the true student athlete. Is what we're truly looking for now.